Joplin becomes the latest city to implement a mask mandate. We'll have details. Plus, the governor of Missouri extends the state of emergency, and we'll look at where local counties stand on the statewide mask order in Kansas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, it was opening night for MIAA basketball. We'll look back at last night's games between Missouri Southern and Central Oklahoma. And the CDC recommends all Americans avoid traveling this Thanksgiving due to rising coronavirus cases. For our Something to Talk About, let us know whether or not you plan on traveling for the holiday. And we also invite you to participate in our Insta poll. Just visit KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
Health System sky camera in Joplin already sitting at a comfortable 62 degrees. Just missed out on that record from November 19th yesterday. Topped out at 74. We needed to get to 75 to tie it from 1950. Starting to see a little shift up to the northwest as far as the way the winds are, and cooler out there. 55 in both Chanute and Yates Center compared to 61s in Carthage and Neosho. Clean Skywatch storm tracker, at least for right now, and it will be for most of the morning, as we won't see the formation of the rain begin to develop really until this afternoon/evening. Now, once it does, it sets us up for a wet weekend with temperatures that are going to drop. So here we are, push past noon, see it kind of develop in the central portion and move out to the east. Then it gets more widespread as we get from Friday night into Saturday. As far as the heavy rain, that kind of doesn't want to really pick up until we get into Saturday night. You'll notice it's kind of right along and south of I-44. The north then chimes in Saturday afternoon and evening. 7-day forecast with temperatures back into the 50s all the way through next week.
All right. Temperatures are about ready to start dipping down.
Yeah, about ready to start getting some rain too.
All right. We're ready for it. It's been dry for a little bit.
Need it.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Joplin City Council approves a new mask mandate for the community. The vote came last night after discussion and input from local health officials and the community. The mandate will go into effect immediately and will expire at 11:59 on February 28th of next year. Gary Shaw, Doug Lawson, and Phil Stennett voted no on the ordinance, with Shaw and Stennett voicing concerns that the masks are not necessarily effective at slowing the spread, that they feel the citizens can be trusted to do the right thing. Mayor Ryan Stanley says he does believe the mask will be effective at slowing the spread and, moreover, helping reduce workloads at local hospitals. Councilman Chuck Koppel cited data from nearby communities like Springfield with mask mandates, saying that while the cases are still rising, they're rising at a considerably slower rate than what we're seeing in Joplin. Yesterday, Missouri Governor Mike Parson did not issue a statewide mask mandate, but did extend the state of emergency. The state of emergency will now run through March 31st. Governor Parson is calling on Missourians to take personal responsibility, wear masks, wash their hands, and practice social distancing. Kansas counties are contemplating mask mandates again after the governor issues a second executive order. Governor Kelly issued a new mask mandate on Wednesday, giving counties that did not have mandates 7 days to draft their own alternatives or opt out. Crawford County has a mask order, and Allen County let the governor's order in July take effect, but hasn't done much for enforcement. And Neosho County Commission discussed the issue last night.
I wish our people here would look at that today and treat it as your patriotic duty to mask mandate and not feel that we're going against your personal rights. Even though I agree, that's why I opted out the last time. I felt it was going against personal rights. This is not communism. We're not trying to dictate anything. We're trying to save lives.
In a 2-to-1 vote, the Neosho County Commission voted to opt out of the governor's new mandate. Other counties, including Wilson, Labette, and Woodson, plan to discuss what they want to do as early as next week. Well, some coronavirus survivors are urging families to be careful this holiday season. They know all too well how symptoms can escalate quickly. 2 of these people from the Springfield area are sharing their experiences. Reporter Joe Hickman has their story.
Aaron Thomas is a Mercy ER nurse who ended up in his own emergency room as a patient in late September.
I had unbelievable sweats and I had a fever of about 105 to 106.
And over the next 11 days, things got worse.
I was coughing up blood. I had blood in my lungs and I was on a ventilator for 7 days.
The father of 3 doesn't know if he got COVID-19 at work or someplace else.
I have no clue. The sad part about this disease is you don't know who you're looking at, whether they've got it or not.
But he does know he survived thanks to his coworkers, who not only took care of him physically, but also held a prayer vigil for him.
I had the support, honestly, of an entire hospital. Excuse me. It's pretty amazing.
I could not breathe. I could not open my eyes. I could not think to make a rational decision.
Carrie Stowe is an asthma patient who just got out of Cox Hospital after a COVID-19 experience that started back on Halloween and included a 9-hour wait in a crowded emergency room where she visited with others about this complex illness.
There are so many symptoms that are changing every day. One woman in the waiting room that day had not eaten for 2 weeks. I'm just glad that I lived and do not want to see anyone have to go through that experience.
And when asked what they wanted people to take away from their experience with the coronavirus,
I'm not political, so it has nothing to do with that. It's real. It affects people differently. Take it seriously.
I'm so scared to think of the families that are going to ignore this and get together at Thanksgiving because the healthy are going to insist on having a gathering. It's not okay.
It's 5:07.
We're going to have sunrise here at 7:03 on this Friday morning. Gradually increasing clouds to the point where afternoon rain finally kicks in, a little after the noon hour. Spreads here for Saturday morning, and then Saturday afternoon we see it transition up to the north as well, lasting all the way through Sunday. And then Sunday afternoon we actually begin to clear out a little bit and get some afternoon sunshine. Temperature is much cooler than what we've had the past couple of days, though, back into the 50s.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Pitt State basketball team is set to hit the road for its season opener. We'll have more on their first game and precautions the Gorillas will take while on the road. Plus, the latest after the CDC asked Americans to cancel their Thanksgiving travel plans and why herd immunity may not be that effective against the spread of the coronavirus. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Last night was opening night of the season for MIAA basketball. Missouri Southern Lions kicking things off, had to hit the road, take on Central Oklahoma. Women's game, it was a tight one. The Lions fall 75-74. Carly Turnbull led the way with 15 for Missouri Southern. And then the 24-ranked men hit the floor against UCO. Same score, but reversed as the Lions win at 75-74. Cam Martin, 27 points and 10 rebounds. Pittsburgh State has to wait a few more days before they play their first game of the season. Our own Andy Ciateco catches up with the Gorillas as they hit the road as well for game number 1.
The Pitt State Gorillas open the season on Saturday at Central Oklahoma. The road trip, like the rest of the season, will look different due to the pandemic.
Bus seating, there'll be a space in between everybody. Everybody will have masks on, while we're on the bus and when we're traveling. So, yeah, it's like everything else.
We've just tried to keep it as simple as possible and try to limit it as far as a distraction because we are trying to go and compete.
The PSU women come back with a lot of experience with 3 returning starters. Senior Maya Williams says the team is learning to adjust, but happy to have the chance to get on the floor.
Well, with everything going on this year, COVID's just a crazy time, and so we just have to be flexible and just grateful that we get a chance to compete.
On the men's side, this road trip is a chance to build chemistry with 9 new players joining the roster.
I like to say this team, we all work great together. We're all very nice to each other, and we all have a great team camaraderie.
I think we're still trying to find ourselves. I think part of it has to do with, we have 9 new players, and then part of it is every day there's that daily uncertainty of, who's going to be able to play.
With that uncertainty surrounding the season, coaches know building depth early will be a key factor in making it through the winter schedule.
I think that everybody's going to have to to deal with some type of situations as far as their lineup, and it might not even just be COVID, but you also have the flu and you have injuries.
We don't have control of the virus, so if for some reason it did strike you and you had 2 or 3 guys out, if you didn't get all quarantined, then you got to have some depth.
In Pittsburgh, Andy Cioteco, KOAM Sports.
State women play Central Oklahoma at 1:30 Saturday afternoon. Men's game will follow shortly, somewhere around 3:30. Webb City Cardinals district champions for the 21st consecutive season, topping Carthage 42-21 last Friday, claiming the Class 5 District 6 title. Now the Cards move on to face the Lebanon Yellow Jackets in the state quarterfinals, and that game tonight at 7 in Webb, and another challenge for the Cardinal defense. This Lebanon team has scored 45 or more in 4 straight games, but what they do is not new to Webb City.
Similar to Ozark, so we look at a lot of Ozark film and watch them. They're going to try and run it down our throats, so stopping the run I think will be good.
You know, make no bones about it, they're going to run the ball right at you and you know, challenge you at the line of scrimmage. And you know, you got to be able to get yourself off the field. That's all we've been talking about this week to our defense. You got to be able to get yourself off the field.
Finally, big day at Seneca High School as Titus Atkins signs to continue his baseball career in college. Atkins staying in Missouri, and he'll play first base for College of the Ozarks. Says he knew pretty quickly that was where he wanted to be, and signing, big weight off of his shoulders. Congratulations to both Titus and the entire Atkins family. Ozark, lucky to have you, my man. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, why an historic visit by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is drawing criticism, and a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. 5:17, great time for a little Friday weather on the 7th. Thought this was just kind of a cool light pattern that they have right there on the lawn of the Freeman Health System campus in Joplin. When we take a closer shot there and do our currents, that really doesn't pick up, so I just thought I'd kind of take the camera, widen it out a little bit, and show everybody. We hit 74 degrees yesterday. We just missed the record of 75 dating back to 1950, and we're not going to get close to the November 20th record, which is also 75, from 2007. Now we get to our free currents from the Freeman Health System sky camera. Very comfortable, 62 degrees. Wind still coming in though, 16 miles per hour. Starting to see a little shift in the winds up here, and that's also where we see cooler temperatures, mid to high 50s throughout southeast Kansas compared to the low 60s that are kind of dominating southwest Missouri right now. Clean Skywatch storm tracker, just a little bit of cloud cover right there. Our clouds are going to steadily increase though as we work through the morning. We'll go 7:03 for sunrise on the bus stop forecast. Sunshine early before the clouds begin to set in. Temperatures very, very nice, mid 60s there by 9 o'clock. Ridge of the jet stream still in that course of moving off to the east, but really the big thing is how much it's flattened out right now. Don't have the bubble that we had a couple days ago, and so that's going to allow some cold temperatures and low pressure to make its way from the Pacific Northwest all the way down toward us. Still going to make it up into the high 60s today before the rain hits. Let's talk about our rain. Really going to develop after the noon hour. Originally, what we'll see is kind of along and south of I-44 throughout Friday night into Saturday morning. But now, as we progress into Saturday, these areas that look pretty dry here, they're going to pick up a whole bunch of rain as everything kind of moves west-southwest to east-northeast. It takes us all the way through into Sunday, hangs on early Sunday morning before it then clears back out for Sunday evening. And our temperatures, well, it's actually seasonable for most of these days for next week. It is a little chilly over the weekend. We should be about mid-50s for the most part. But like I said, we just got a little spoiled there being up in the 70s for so long. It's time to get back to normal. Time now to turn our attention to not only the KOAM News Now Facebook page, but also our morning Insta poll. Remember, all you have to do is go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote to take part. Thanksgiving, a little under a week away, and with the coronavirus, this holiday season is going to be unlike any other we've seen. Gathering together is usually what the holidays are all about, and that, plus some colder weather, is exactly what accelerates the virus's spread. Officials say traveling home for the holidays is also a risky proposition this year. Reed Binion has the story.
Next week, Americans will celebrate Thanksgiving, which normally sees some of the busiest travel days of the year. But this year, with the pandemic worsening, officials are warning against traveling for the holiday. The CDC posting updated guidelines for safe celebration and officially recommending that Americans not travel. For those who do or who choose to gather together, local and state leaders like South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster are urging caution and testing.
We have to be careful. We have to be smart. I'm asking that you do something very important, something that could save lives at Thanksgiving, and that is get tested before turkey.
As far as family gatherings, the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says the decision should be based on each family's unique circumstances.
Take a look at your family and you say, do I have a person there who's an elderly person, a person with an underlying medical condition? Do I want to take that risk right now?
Dr. Fauci emphasizing the importance of remaining vigilant as we await coronavirus vaccines.
Vaccines are close by. They're coming. Pretty soon, we're going to get a heck of a lot of help from a very efficacious vaccine. 2 vaccines.
One of those vaccines, developed by drug giant Pfizer and German company BioNTech, will be submitted to the FDA Friday as the companies request emergency use authorization. I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Biotechnology company Moderna also expected to apply for emergency use authorization for its vaccine and expected to do so in the coming weeks. Our specific question is, do you plan on traveling this Thanksgiving? Once again, you can leave your comments on the KOAM News Now Facebook page or take part in our Insta poll. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. We'll roll your comments and update your results. Health Watch is next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, as we're learning more about COVID-19, some health officials say there's more evidence that a herd immunity approach to the virus will not work. Mandy Gaither explains.
When a person gets COVID-19, it's likely they'll also get some degree of immunity after recovering, but researchers still don't know for how long.
Yes, reinfection can and does occur with COVID-19, though it appears to be a rare occurrence so far.
Of the many millions of COVID-19 cases around the world, only a handful of documented cases show reinfection, but it's still a concern, says emergency physician Dr. Leanna Nguyen.
The virus that causes COVID-19 is a coronavirus, and coronaviruses cause illnesses like the common cold that are known to reinfect people year after year.
So far, research has shown that any immunity gained after COVID recovery will most likely last for months, not years.
We also don't know how complete the protection is, and whether, if you're exposed, you may not get sick, but could still transmit the virus to others.
That's one reason Dr. Nguyen says the herd immunity approach to COVID-19 doesn't work. If we let the virus infect most of the population, it's estimated that millions of people could die without any guarantee that those who survive will be protected for longer than a matter of months.
That's why prevention is so critical. It's really important that we do everything we can to protect from getting coronavirus.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, since coronavirus vaccines are still being developed, we don't know what reinfection means for the vaccine. But it's likely that a single-dose vaccine will not be enough and that we might need booster shots like tetanus or even annual shots like the flu. Well, a new review of COVID-19 data shows people are most likely to spread the virus within the first 5 days of showing symptoms. Doctors say this finding emphasizes the need to rapidly isolate COVID patients when they first get sick. Children born by C-section may face a higher risk of being hospitalized with an infection during early childhood. Researchers in Australia say the findings should not discourage women from having C-sections when medically indicated. Well, a diet rich in olive oil, fruits, vegetables, and nuts can reduce the risk of diabetes for women by 30%. A study at Brigham and Women's Hospital finds the so-called Mediterranean diet can especially help people who are obese or overweight. A healthy diet can also reduce the risk of heart disease. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Let's start with the 7-day forecast and then work our way as far as what rain we're going to see today. Still going to have highs up into the high 60s, already sitting in the low 60s right now, and sunrise not here until 7:03. We are going to have gradually increasing cloud cover, and you'll notice cooler temperatures and rain ahead for the weekend. Now we put Future Track into motion. It develops this afternoon, more so along and south of I-44, and then it kind of spreads from southwest to northeast throughout Friday night into Saturday morning. Now Saturday afternoon, here it comes up through the north, and it's just going to be a wet Saturday and actually hangs on into Sunday until the skies slowly begin to clear and temperatures are in the 50s. Be back right after this.
Joplin becomes the latest city to implement a mask mandate. We'll have details. Plus, the governor of Missouri extends the state of emergency and will look at where local counties stand on the statewide mask order in Kansas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, our Morning Talker today is about traveling for Thanksgiving, and we're asking whether or not you have any plans to do so this year. We also invite you to participate in our Insta poll. Just visit KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. All right. Right now, let's take a look at the weather.
And now, the weather. Yeah. Our camera op, Jesse Conley, he got a kick out of that one. You a Night Vale fan, Jesse? Yeah, you know what I was talking about then. Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin. Another comfortable start, but we've got big changes on the way. 62 is where we stand right now. You'll notice temperatures up to the northwest already dropping down into the mid-50s. Still, it's not too bad outside. No worries for the kiddos early on. Sunrise, 7:03 on the bus stop forecast. Gradually increasing clouds, but we'll be able to keep the rain at bay until after the lunch hour. As far as what we are eventually going to see, you'll notice as it develops here in the central portion of the 4 states, it then spreads from southwest to northeast all throughout Friday evening. So high school football could be a little bit wet. Not looking at anything severe, and that's really not heavy rain into Saturday morning. Then we begin to spread for Saturday afternoon, and the rain does increase in intensity. Picks up, moves off to the east, but hangs on into early Sunday morning. Temperatures going to be dramatically different. It will be in the 50s all the way into next week. 4th warmest start right now through the first 20 days.
Can't complain about that.
Yeah, average high for November has been 69. It's crazy.
Wow. Well, we've had some odd.
Anytime you pause again, don't hesitate to just say, and now
the weather.
The weather.
How close did we get to that record in Joplin?
1 degree. Got to 74
So
yesterday.
Close. So close.
I was actually, because I'm a geek, I was watching it yesterday afternoon. I had the observations pulled up. I was like, yeah, come on.
Did you just kind of want to go over there next to that thermostat with like a...
Lean up to the thermometer, go.
Just with a magnifying glass to give it a little extra heat? Yeah. We don't do that. No. And now, the news. The Joplin City Council approves a new mask mandate for the community. The vote came last night after discussion and input from local health officials and the community. The mandate will go into effect immediately and will expire at 11:59 on February 28th of next year. Gary Shaw, Doug Lawson, and Phil Stinnett voted no on the ordinance, with Shaw and Stinnett voicing concerns that the masks are not necessarily effective at slowing the spread and that they feel the citizens can be trusted to do the right thing. Mayor Ryan Stanley says he does believe the mask will be effective at slowing the spread and, moreover, helping reduce workloads at the local hospitals. Councilman Chuck Koppel cited data from nearby communities like Springfield with mask mandates, saying that while the cases are still rising, they're rising at a considerably slower rate than what we're seeing in Joplin. Yesterday, Missouri Governor Mike Parson did not issue a statewide mask mandate, but did extend the state of emergency. Now, this state of emergency will now run through March 31st. Governor Parson is calling on Missourians to take personal responsibility, wear masks, wash their hands, and practice social distancing. The number of hospitalizations in Oklahoma due to the coronavirus has surpassed 1,400 for a new one-day record. The Oklahoma State Department of Health Wednesday reported 1,434 people hospitalized, 53 more than the previous daily record set on Tuesday. The department reports 3,017 new cases and 26 additional deaths for totals of 164,000 340 cases and 1,588 deaths since the pandemic began. Governor Kevin Stitt has implored Oklahomans to wear masks in public, practice social distancing, and exercise good hand hygiene. But he's resisted issuing a statewide mask mandate. Kansas counties are considering mask mandates after the governor signed a second statewide mask mandate. Governor Kelly issued her new mask mandate on Wednesday, giving counties that don't have mandates 7 days to draft their own alternatives or opt out. Crawford County already has a mask order. Allen County let the governor's order in July take effect, but hasn't done much for enforcement. And the Neosho County Commission discussed the issue last night. They had originally opted out of the state mandate in July.
I'm getting letters from people I totally respect saying don't mandate. I totally respect them. It aches me to go against my friends. I'm just hoping when it's all said and done that we learn it was the right thing to do.
In a 2-to-1 vote, the Neosho County Commission voted to opt out of the governor's new mandate. Other counties, including Wilson, Labette, and Woodson, plan to discuss what they want to do early as next week. Pandemic has changed many things Americans take for granted, and the college experience is no exception. PSU students are set to head home for Thanksgiving today and will finish out the semester online. But before they go, some of them spoke to KOAM's Mike Mahoney about going to college in the age of the coronavirus.
Campus was looking a bit bare on Thursday as PSU students prepared to go home for Thanksgiving break. But the ones who were around weren't shy when it came to discussing their first semester during a pandemic.
It was a tough semester to start out. It was much harder. There were less breaks and there were accommodations that had to be made the entire way. I'd say the university in itself did a pretty fantastic job at controlling the situation.
The school itself has done a great job of keeping us up to date on what's going on with numbers in the county. Overall, I haven't felt unsafe or anything while I've been here.
These computer information systems majors gave PSU their seal of approval when it came to handling student education and campus COVID safety. And other students agreed with them.
For me personally, I think the university did quite a good job. I had professors who were really helpful in making sure that I would stay safe. I am someone who has high risk.
PSU junior Peyton Williams also says the college did a good job protecting people on campus from the coronavirus, but was one of the few students to offer some advice. He'd like to see the university get a bit stricter on rule enforcement.
A few teachers I've seen walk by a couple of students on campus, just let a couple of students slide by without their masks on, just give them a little heads up, everybody speak up, do their part.
But Peyton and all the students who spoke to KOAM agree that the university is making the right move, having students finish the semester online following Thanksgiving.
Everybody's going home, seeing all their family, and who knows who contracted what, and don't want to have the possibility to bring that back and be spread.
I'm glad that they're doing that. I think it's a really good idea. I don't think that it would have been smart for us to come back on campus for just a couple weeks after everyone leaving.
I think it'll be okay. The last few weeks are just going to be exams and finishing the last few things up, so I don't think there will be too many hiccups.
In Pittsburgh, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Wednesday and Thursday at the Bryant Student Health Center, PSU offered COVID-19 tests to any student who wanted one before going home for Thanksgiving. Well, downtown Joplin is getting in the Christmas spirit. The Downtown Joplin Alliance hosted the Winter Wonderland. Businesses set up window displays of Christmas decorations in order to take home a prize in 3 categories: best use of theme, best use of lights, and most original. City officials also lit up the Christmas tree in Spiva Park.
Even if the year isn't what we normally think it's going to be or what it usually is, we can still enjoy it. We can still have a great time and enjoy what the pieces we do have of it.
Now, if you want to vote on your favorite business display, all you need to do is scan the QR code on that business's window and enter your vote. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. How an Arkansas teacher is keeping her class's spirits up with positive letters. Plus, Prince William speaks out over an investigation into a controversial interview with his late mother, Princess Diana. First, it's 5:37.
Good looking morning, but remember, we've got a whole lot of changes that are coming our way. After sunrise at 7:03, temperatures rise up into the high 60s. Then this afternoon, the rain begins and sets us up for a wet Saturday with cooler temperatures for the 50s all through the weekend into next week. We'll be back right after this.
Topping World Watch, history's made in the Middle East. Yesterday, the U.S. Secretary of State visited the Israeli settlements in the West Bank. It's a milestone that brings with it plenty of criticism. Trey Yingst has more from Tel Aviv, Israel.
Israeli settlement. His visit to a winery marks the first time a top U.S. diplomat toured the disputed territory. Pompeo's trip is part of a larger campaign announced this week alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to punish organizations deemed anti-Semitic.
I know this sounds simple to you, Mr. Prime Minister. It seems like a statement of fact, but I want you to know that we will immediately take steps to identify organizations that engage in hateful BDS conduct and withdraw U.S. government support for such groups.
Part of the new U.S. initiative and final gift to Israel from the Trump administration includes labeling products as made in Israel if they originate from settlements. Talk of Pompeo's visit to an area that is considered illegally occupied under international law triggered protests yesterday, with demonstrators lighting tires on fire and clashing with the Israeli military.
This is an illegal act. It's an act of a failed administration trying to make himself relevant when he's 1 month away from being a nobody.
Secretary Pompeo also visited the Golan Heights, an area taken from Syria during the Six-Day War. The Trump administration formally recognized the Golan as part of Israel last year, in contrast to views held by most of the international community. Well, the Danish health ministry says no further cases of a mutated version of coronavirus found in mink have been detected. Now scientists believe that the variant has most likely become extinct. The discovery of the virus in mink earlier this month prompted authorities to order all mink in Denmark to be culled. Health ministry said all the mink in 7 municipalities have now been killed, and temporary restrictions on people can now be relaxed. Prince William is weighing in on the BBC's decision to launch an investigation into its controversial interview from 1995 with his mother, Princess Diana. In a statement released by Kensington Palace on Wednesday, the Duke of Cambridge said the independent investigation is, quote, a step in the right direction. Former UK Supreme Court Justice Lord Dyson will lead the investigation into the circumstances surrounding the now infamous interview. It was carried out by BBC journalist Martin Bashir. The network is investigating whether Bashir asked an artist to create fake bank statements to coerce the princess into talking on camera. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll asking about your Thanksgiving plans and whether or not you are taking to the road, planning to travel, because AAA obviously expecting it to be way down, comparatively speaking, from years past. Glenn Ritchie says no traveling for us this Thanksgiving, but then again, we normally don't. I can say that if I really needed a visit with family and friends, I would consider the COVID situation a lot first, but would most likely go anyway. Of course, who I was visiting would have a say in that as well. Gus Carson says, tongue-in-cheek, of course traveling. I love passing the COVID to those I love. Michelle Pacini with a little morning, Mama, Tanya, and Mike. We say good morning, Michelle. Nope, I am listening to the experts and staying home with my husband. Still doing dinner and bringing plates to Mama, just smaller. Have a lot to be thankful for. For one, my family has made it 11 months into the COVID mess so far and lived through this in an election. More gray, less hair, and emotionally drained. Amen. Guy Hansen with the "we shall not comply" picture. And Kitty Kimmel, not traveling this Thanksgiving. Rick Norton, not traveling, but never done so nothing's changed. Have a blessed day, everyone. You as well, Mr. Rick. Hey, on our Insta poll this morning, go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. 86% of you saying no, you are not taking to the roads or air and traveling on this Thanksgiving holiday. It's open all morning. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar says an application for emergency use of Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine is expected today. As COVID-19 continues to spread across the U.S., the CDC says Americans should cancel their Thanksgiving plans and not travel at all for the holiday. Total number of cases since the pandemic hit the U.S. is approaching 12 million after hitting 11 million on Sunday. Joplin City Council approves a new mask mandate for the community. Vote came last night after discussion and input from local health officials and the community. The mandate will go into effect immediately and will expire at 11:59, February 28th of next year. The measure passed 6-3 with Gary Shaw, Doug Lawson, and Phil Stinnett voting no on the ordinance. Well, Kansas counties are considering mask mandates after the governor signed a second statewide mask mandate. Governor Kelly issued a new mask mandate on Wednesday, giving counties that don't have mandates 7 days to draft their own alternatives or opt out. Crawford County already has a mask order, and Allen County let the governor's order in July take effect. In a 2-1 vote last night, the Neosho County Commission voted to opt out of the governor's new mandate. And other counties, including Wilson, Labette, and Woodson, plan to discuss what they want to do as early as next week. The number of hospitalizations in Oklahoma due to the coronavirus has surpassed 1,400 for a new one-day record. Oklahoma State Department of Health Wednesday reported 1,434 people hospitalized, 53 more than the previous daily record set on Tuesday. The department reports 3,017 new cases and 26 additional deaths for totals of 164,340 cases, 1,588 deaths since the pandemic began. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Changes begin this afternoon and set us up for what's going to be a wet and cool weekend. We get spoiled up until the noon hour once again, make it up into the high 60s right there. But like I said, after the lunch hour, we begin our rain. Central portion kind of spreads off to the east. We get more widespread Friday night into Saturday. And then Saturday afternoon and evening, then we really kind of open it up with some heavy rain. Not looking at anything severe, just good old-fashioned November showers. But look at these temperatures on the backside, into the 50s all through next week. We'll be back right after this.
Well, keeping spirits up during the pandemic can be difficult, especially for kids who miss seeing their friends. And one elementary school teacher in Arkansas is trying to help with a small gesture that's making a big impact. Miranda Reynolds has the story.
Dear Miles, you are a great friend.
Miles Gray's bucket is full
You are a great person.
of positive notes from his classmates and friends. It's a simple idea. His teacher, Kelly Dickerson, says it came from a children's book. How Full is Your Bucket? For Kids by Tom Rath and Mary Reckmeyer.
You are cool. Thanks for being a good friend.
Which explains saying nice things fills other students' buckets, and saying bad things empties that bucket.
Thank you for being my teacher.
It's an idea that Miles's mom, Natalie, loves.
It's just really neat getting to see them get their self-esteem built up at such an early age and shown how good it feels to be nice to others too.
Dear Miles, you are sweet, kind, generous, thankful. You are a good friend. I like your new haircut. You are very good at heads down, thumbs up.
And each letter is complete with a drawing. Right now, Brookland Elementary is virtual only, and Miles looks forward to returning to class to write letters back to other students.
That's a great idea to keep them in touch with each other. All right, Michael.
Hi, Tanya. If your morning routine includes Facebook, you can go to @MichaelHayslip, KOAM. Give you a quick hitter each morning right there. Hang on there, Rick. I'll be right with you. Give you a quick hitter about what we've got going on each morning. That's the same forecast you can also find on the Skywatch weather app. All that is downloadable for free on all your mobile devices. Now, back to our comments as far as if you're making any trips this Thanksgiving. Rocky Cunningham, I like this one. He says, yeah, I'm making a trip. It's called From the Couch to the Fridge at Halftime. Becky Mingarelli says, we've never traveled for Thanksgiving and do not plan on starting this year. Matt LaFata says, just have the feds cancel it and just make it an arrestable offense and get it over with. Matt says, let's get this revolution started. Ken Anders is with Rocky. We got to travel from the dining room to the couch. Tryptophan. Will Patriots says will not comply. And Dave Sorek says, giving thanks to Jesus, may God bless America, come what may. I wish an attitude of gratitude would sweep this nation. Don't forget, you can log on to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Let us know what you think as far as our Insta poll goes. Starting to see the yeses creep up a little bit as far as our traveling goes. No's still coming in, though. It's 75%. We'll be back and continue to update your results throughout the course of the show. Let's take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker, see if anything has developed as of yet, right after this.
Joplin becomes the latest city to implement a mask mandate. We'll have details. Plus, the governor of Missouri extends the state of emergency, and we'll look at where local counties stand on the statewide mask order in Kansas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, we'll hear from a local chef on how to safely fry a turkey for Thanksgiving. And as coronavirus cases spike nationwide, the CDC is asking Americans not to travel for Thanksgiving. For our Something to Talk About, we're asking if you plan on traveling for the holiday. And you can also participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
We'll run out to the Freeman Health Systems campus and take a look at our SkyCam in Joplin. 62 degrees. Still got that south wind coming in. No wind advisories, warnings, anything of that nature. And in the far top left-hand corner, we're starting to see the winds shift, an indicator that we'll have a system that is going to buckle down on us throughout the Friday afternoon. Now, Skywatch Storm Tracker is still clean. We will have increasing cloud cover after sunrise at 7:03. No problem getting to school, though, as we're going to be in the mid-60s there by 9 o'clock. You can see the cold temperatures lingering to the northwest, and eventually that's going to have a little collision course with our warmer front that's been hanging over us, and we are anticipating afternoon, nighttime, and Saturday rain. So let's go ahead and jump into future track here. As it begins to develop on a southwest to northeast line, it then spreads through Saturday morning, gets a little bit to the north there, and this is really when we begin to pick up. You know, it's nothing severe on Friday, but notice the yellow starts popping up. And as that thing sweeps through late Saturday night into Sunday, that's going to actually be our best chance for a little lightning and thunder, but still not even showing up on the severe thunderstorm risk map. We like that.
Nice. We'll take that. Yeah. Wait, I mean, it's not too cold to make it miserable. We need the rain. It could be worse.
Oh, and for those of you that do have plans on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, let's get it out of the way now.
Yeah, do it now, like you said. All right, thanks, Michael. Joplin City Council approves a new mask mandate for the community. The vote came last night after discussion and input from local health officials and the community. The mandate will go into effect immediately and will expire at 11:59 on February 28th of next year. Gary Shaw, Doug Lawson, and Phil Stinnett voted no on the ordinance, with Shaw and Stinnett voicing concerns that the masks are not necessarily effective at slowing the spread, but they feel the citizens can be trusted to do the right thing. Mayor Ryan Stanley says he does believe the mask will be effective at slowing the spread and, moreover, helping reduce workloads at the local hospitals. Councilman Chuck Koppel cited data from nearby communities like Springfield with mask mandates, saying that while the cases are still rising, they're rising at a considerably slower rate than what we're seeing in Joplin. Well, yesterday, Missouri Governor Mike Parson did not issue a statewide mask mandate, but did extend the state of emergency. The state of emergency will now run through March 31st. Governor Parson is calling on Missourians to take personal responsibility, wear masks, wash their hands, and practice social distancing. Kansas counties consider mask mandates after the governor signed a second statewide mask mandate. Governor Kelly issued a new mask mandate on Wednesday, giving counties that do not have mandates 7 days to draft their own alternatives or opt out. Crawford County has a mask order, and Allen County let the governor's order in July take effect, but hasn't done much for enforcement. In a 2-to-1 vote last night, the Neosho County Commission voted to opt out of the governor's new mandate. Other counties, including Wilson, Labette, and Woodson, plan to discuss what they want to do as early as next week. With many Americans changing their plans and staying home this Thanksgiving because of the coronavirus, many people could be prepping their first ever Turkey Day meal. And that includes our very own Jesse Irwin, as he gears up to make a turkey dinner at the Pittsburgh Fire Department. I guess that's the safest place for you, Jesse. He joins us live with some tips.
Tanya, I was on the phone with my sister yesterday and we were talking about how we have got to postpone Thanksgiving for a little bit, and so we wouldn't be making the trip next week. And as soon as I hang up the phone, I realized, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to prepare a turkey on my own. So there's a lot of different stuff that people are going to be doing for the first time this year. And while federal officials want to warn us of the safety precautions with it, they also want to let us know about things like foodborne illness. Laura Podesta has more.
From the turkey to the stuffing to the mashed potatoes, for many Americans opting out of their usual holiday plans during the pandemic, this may be the first time they're cooking the big meal. The first step, properly thaw your frozen bird and give yourself plenty of time.
It's going to take some time to thaw this. And if you don't do it safely, you might have a food safety risk. So you need to thaw it in the refrigerator. This is our best method, and it takes about 24 hours for every 4 or 5 pounds of that turkey.
Dr. Mindy Brashears with the USDA says when it's time to cook the bird, it's best to use a food thermometer.
That food thermometer needs to be put into the thickest part of the breast and then the innermost part of the thigh and wing. And we want to get that turkey to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. If you cook it to that temperature, the turkey is juicy, it's done, you've killed the bacteria.
It's very important to prevent cross-contamination in the kitchen. That could cause foodborne illness. Wash and sanitize all surfaces, cutting boards, utensils, and hands.
Wash your hands before you prepare food. Wash your hands during food preparation if you're handling something raw or something that could be contaminated, and wash your hands afterward. 95 to 99% of our consumers in observational studies don't wash your hands at all, or they don't properly wash your hands.
Once the big meal is done, get the leftovers into the refrigerator within 2 hours. Break them into smaller containers so they chill quickly, and toss everything after 4 days. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
2, 1. Also, when it comes
All right, we'll be checking back in with Jesse a little later in the show, and I understand coming up on Fox 14, we're actually going to be frying our own turkey. Well, it's become an important tradition. The Watered Gardens Empty Bowls event happened again this year. People simply buy a bowl that includes a serving of soup for $20. Now, the money from that purchase goes to Watered Gardens to help the less fortunate in our area. This year's event was a little different. There were only 60 people allowed in at a time, and masks were required. There was still the important mission behind the event, though, not to mention some good food.
We also get these area restaurants. We get to kind of feature some of their soups, let people know of these places in town that have got great food, and it gives us an opportunity for folks to support local missions that are privately funded and are feeding those struggling with poverty and homelessness in our community.
Besides soup, people could also purchase artwork created by artists at Watered Gardens. 6:07.
I keep lucking out. That's the second consecutive show that Travis has let into me. Once again, I love that dude. And great job by Watered Gardens and Empty Bowls. I always enjoy that event. All right, rain begins this afternoon over the central and eastern portions, kind of scattered and light to begin with. There we are for high school football kickoffs, so it's going to be a little wet. I'd take the rain gear out. And then as we work into Saturday morning and afternoon, then we see it really spread up to the north. Temperatures going to drop down to the 50s over a wet, cool weekend.
This morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, a look at the must-have toys of the year.
Baby Yoda has parents moving fast to snatch one up in time for the holidays. I'm Naomi Ruckham with a look at some of this year's hottest toys.
Plus, states re-implement coronavirus restrictions as the number of cases continue to surge. And our very own Jesse Irwin cooks up a Thanksgiving turkey.
time on Thanksgiving next week, we're going to be doing some cooking, and that means preparing a turkey. This morning we're hanging out at the Pittsburgh Fire Department, where we are going to be frying properly and improperly a turkey. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, or KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
In Money Watch this morning, managers at the Tyson's food plant in Waterloo, Iowa were allegedly betting on how many of their workers would get the coronavirus. A wrongful death lawsuit was recently amended to add the new accusation. The suit claims Tyson did not take sufficient steps to protect its employees. More than 1,000 of the 2,800 workers in Waterloo got sick and at least 5 died. Tyson says it is investigating the claim. The holidays will be different this year because of the pandemic, but at least one thing is the same. Kids want toys. Naomi Ruckham takes a look at what is popular this year.
Pull the ripcord and let it fly.
The race is on to buy the must-have holiday toys kids are clamoring for. The Toy Insider's Marissa DiBartolo says this year many parents have their own wish lists.
Let's see what we get.
With old school items, including the Price is Right inspired Plinko game.
Because you can't go anywhere. So this year families are really looking for things like board games and activity toys and things that they can all play together.
The National Retail Federation says Legos and other classic toys like Barbie are popular this year. So are high-tech video game consoles and this Mario Kart Live.
Here we go.
There's a camera on top so kids can get the racer's perspective.
One of the hottest toys this year is this Kitty Zoom Creator Cam. It can switch to selfie mode and even comes with a green screen so kids can create their own backgrounds like dinosaurs.
Kids are watching videos on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok more than ever before, and this camera is a safe way for them to really dabble in making their own videos.
Kids will also be asking for new toys from Ryan and LOL Surprise.
Get ready to move.
The latest version of Baby Shark is expected to be a hit.
Take it up.
And may the force be with parents trying to get this Star Wars toy.
The Child is definitely one of those big hot items this year.
The Child, aka Baby Yoda, now comes in a remote control version.
And they can use that to control all of the child's movements. You can make him walk, you can play hide and seek with him.
Experts say parents seeking a hot toy don't want to wait too long. The pandemic has more people buying online, which could lead to shipping delays. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
That's it for Money Watch. Here is Michael with our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll asking about your Thanksgiving plans, with it being a little bit different this year. And right now we've got Earl Haas who says, hope the proud travelers will be too proud not to clutter up our hospitals if they become ill. Chris Osgood Miller, he's staying at home celebrating with my husband. We'll fix a nice dinner and enjoy the day. And Alan says, you can't be so afraid of COVID that you stop living. We will be doing Thanksgiving as normal. Feel free to log on to our Facebook page, let us know what you think, or take part in our Insta poll. Shouldn't say or, how about and take part in our Insta poll. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Right now, 77% of you say no Thanksgiving travel plans. We have seen the yeses increase, though, up to 23%. Once again, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll come back, talk about what's going to be a wet, cool weekend, and check in with Jesse right after this. Since it is 6:17, how about a little weather on the 7s on a Friday morning? Going to be a clear start. Wind still coming in at a good clip from the south right there. Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, 62 degrees. It's a comfortable Friday morning. That is for sure. Starting to see the cooler temperatures up here where the wind is shifting. 53 in Yates Center, 54 in Chinook. Compare that to 58 in Lamar and already 61 there in Carthage. Like I said, we did a little bit of cloud cover, but we're steadily going to increase that throughout the course of the bus stop forecast. Still going to be able to make it up into the mid 60s here by the time recess hits. Sunrise officially over Joplin at 7:03. Ridge of the jet stream that we had a couple of days ago now really flattened out. That's going to give this cool air a chance to have an opening to make its way through the 4 states, and also too, once we get that collision course right there as the system progresses down to the southeast, then we get our afternoon rains. Once it starts, it's going to be a wet, cool weekend. Still anticipate us making it up into the high 60s here later on. And then overnight, while we stay in the 50s, it just is going to be a wet one. We begin to develop really after the lunch hour. Kind of scattered light at first, pushing from central off to east. The original band is really along and south of I-44. We get a little northward movement from Friday night. That's about high school kickoff. I know there's a handful of games might be on the road. I'd go ahead and make sure you got some rain gear with you. Now we really pick up from Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, because that's where we see another band come in from the west. And that's where we see the harder rain as well. Saturday night's going to be our best shot for a little thunder and lightning, and it's going to last all the way into Sunday morning. On the backside of that, cooler temps. We'll see 40s there overnight, even 35 in between Sunday and Monday, and ride the 50s into next week. You notice the rain persists on Monday and Tuesday too. Hopefully we can clear everything out just in time for those of you who may be on the road on Wednesday and enjoying a Thanksgiving on Thursday. Now, with many Americans changing those travel plans and staying home because of the coronavirus, people could be prepping their first ever turkey. Well, that would include our own Jesse Irwin as he gears up for a turkey dinner at the Pittsburgh Fire Department. Jesse?
Well, Michael, if there is anyone who is unqualified to fry a turkey, you're listening to him. Yeah, that's right. Well, we're here at the Pittsburgh Fire Department where we're going to learn how to properly fry a turkey, also how to improperly fry a turkey maybe. And that's why we're joined this morning by Chief Riley. Chief Riley, you've been on the job for 3 weeks. Things going well so far?
So far, it's been a fantastic experience for me. I'm so happy to be here and thankful that the city's given me the opportunity to serve.
Well, I'm happy to have you here to be the expert in this situation. You've been in the fire world for 40 plus years, and have you done anything like this before?
I've been involved in some of these demonstrations before, and certainly I've been involved in situations where turkey frying has gone bad. And hopefully by the end of this morning, we'll be able to share some good information with everybody who wants to attempt to fry a turkey on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so when it comes to, there's sort of 3 things that you were saying are the main points to remember when frying a turkey, right? So what are those safety precautions?
Absolutely. I'd say the very first thing is it's a little complicated of a process.
Right.
So this is not something that you want to run out the night before Thanksgiving and just think that there's nothing to it. So you need to do your research when you buy your fry kit. Make sure you read all the directions. The Consumer Safety Products Commission has a lot of good information online, and you can do a lot of research. Just, Google frying turkeys. And it's going to walk you through the process, and it's going to walk you through the safety precautions. From my standpoint as fire chief, there's a couple things that I think are absolutely crucial. Number one, never fry a turkey inside any type of building, inside a garage, inside a storage building, anything like that. You need to set your fryer up on a firm surface, preferably concrete. I don't advise people to use a fryer on a deck just because if something happens and the oil spills out of the fryer, you're on a wooden deck.
Right.
So I'd caution against that. The second thing that is very important is when you fill the fryer, make sure that you leave enough room so when the turkey goes in, the oil doesn't displace outside the fryer.
Gotcha.
And that's all in the directions. If you'll follow the directions, you'll be fine. And the third thing is never stick a frozen turkey into boiling oil.
Right.
That's where that's where the very explosive reaction happens. And hopefully we'll be able to demonstrate that for you all today.
What about extension cords? I mean, can we, let's say I don't have a plug that can reach to the deck, or are we sort of playing with some danger there if we're plugging too many things into too many things?
Well, that's always a problem.
Right.
Most times with the fryers, they come with a propane tank and a hose that supplies the burner, and the burner is going to have an igniter, so you really shouldn't have to worry about extension cords.
Okay.
But once again, follow the directions, make sure all those connections are tight, and if you can, depending on the model fryer you have, put the propane bottle, the fuel source, as far away from the fire as the hose will allow you.
Yeah.
Because that way, if something does happen, you have a chance to turn the propane off, because the propane is what's going to fuel the fire.
Right.
And another thing is, heaven forbid something bad happens, call the fire department immediately. If you can shut the gas off, that's great, but make sure someone calls 911, because these can be very dynamic situations, and the sooner we get there, the better chance we have to remedy the problem. Something else that I'd advise is take some aluminum foil and wrap the supply hose, and we can go out and look at the fryer later on. Wrap the supply hose in aluminum foil, so if something does happen, if oil spills out, it'll be harder for it to burn through that hose.
That's a really good tip. All right, well, I'm really happy we have you here this morning, because things could go a little haywire if you weren't here. But
we'll take care of it.
Awesome. Chief Riley, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here this morning. We're going to be frying a turkey on the KOAM Morning News, both during the 6 o'clock and over on Fox 14 during the 7 o'clock. But we're putting the fry in Friday, and we will toss it back to you, Michael.
Jesse, I'm just happy the chief is there to take care of you, my man. Not that I wouldn't trust you, but I feel much better with the chief right by your side. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, we're averaging nearly 160,000 new coronavirus infections per day. As we head into the holiday season, states are enforcing new COVID-19 restrictions to slow the virus. David Lee Miller has more.
More than 250,000 Americans have now died from the coronavirus. As we head into flu season, public health officials fear that number will rise even more. Across the country, there's an increased demand for COVID-19 testing, with some people waiting in line for hours. Health experts say it comes amid a surge of new infections in the upcoming holiday season.
With the medicines and the therapeutics, and very soon the vaccines that are available, America has never been more prepared to combat this virus than we are today.
New restrictions are in effect across the country to curb the spread, including New York City, where public school buildings have shut down once again.
Open our schools! Open our schools! Open our schools!
A group of parents stood outside City Hall on Thursday, calling for schools to reopen, after a late Wednesday decision to close left many unprepared.
We need to come up with even more stringent rules to make schools work.
In Los Angeles County, officials are preparing for a mandatory curfew for all but essential workers if cases continue to rise, while several Midwestern states, including Kansas and North Dakota, have reversed course by putting new mask mandates in place. But some officials are still resisting calls for mandatory mask wearing.
What I am opposed of is mandates from this position to the people of this state. People on the local level should have a voice.
Well, with Thanksgiving a week away, the CDC says virtual gatherings are still the safest way to celebrate. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Joplin becomes the latest city to implement a mask mandate. We'll have details. Plus, the governor of Missouri extends the state of emergency, and we'll look at where local counties stand on the statewide mask order in Kansas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, President Donald Trump shifts strategies in trying to challenge the 2020 election results. We'll have the latest and something to talk about on the KOAM News Now Facebook page. We're asking whether or not you plan on traveling for Thanksgiving. You can also participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. First, check on your forecast.
Beautiful way to end our work and school week there. A live look outside of Television City. Wind still coming in at a good clip from the south. Freeman Health System sky camera, 62 degrees, and last wind we had there, 16 miles per hour. Starting to cool down a little bit in the far northeast. We've seen Yates Center and Iola actually drop compared to the high 50s, low 60s that we see out in southwest Missouri. Clean Skywatch storm tracker, a little bit of cloud cover beginning to build up in the northeast right there. Looks like eastern Vernon County just on the other side of Nevada, but no precip being picked up by the sweeping radar. Official sunrise over Joplin on the bus stop forecast, 7:03. Rain's going to hold off, so they won't have any problem on the way to school. It's really just going to be on the way home. Skywatch storm tracker flattening out there with the cooler temperatures about to move in for our weekend. The weather trend for today still puts us up into the high 60s, so that's kind of hard to beat for this time of year. But look at those top icons, and let's talk rain developing there just about after the lunch hour, and then spreading throughout Friday evening into the nighttime hours. Now, everybody up in the north right there going, oh, we're going to be okay. No. By the time we get into Saturday morning and afternoon, much more widespread and coming down a whole lot harder. We can go and see about 1.5 inches of rain here by the time we get done with it on Sunday. Dropping down into the 50s. Taste of true November coming back after our first 20 days of the month have resulted in the 4th warmest on record as far as our daily highs go.
Yeah, it almost got there yesterday, Michael. Almost got there.
Almost got that record yesterday.
Yeah.
I missed by 1 degree.
And now let it get cold, because...
You're ready for the cold?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misheard you. I thought you just said you were, I'm like, okay, you're going to be in luck then.
Well, I'm prepared for it. I'd rather it stay like
74.
78 year-round. That'd be great.
Hey, at least we don't have to fight the wind for the first time in 3 days.
Yeah, that's nice. That is very nice. All right, thanks, Michael. Joplin City Council approves a new mask mandate for the community. The vote came last night after discussion and input from local health officials and the community. The mandate will go into effect immediately and will expire at 11:59 on February 28th of next year. Gary Shaw, Doug Lawson, and Phil Stennett voted no on the ordinance, with Sean Stennett voicing concerns that the masks are not necessarily effective at slowing the spread, that they feel citizens can be trusted to do the right thing. Mayor Ryan Stanley says he does believe the mask will be effective at slowing the spread and, moreover, helping reduce workloads at the local hospitals. Councilman Chuck Koppel cited data from nearby communities like Springfield with mask mandates, saying that while the cases are still rising, they're rising at a considerably slower rate than what we're seeing in Joplin. Yesterday, Missouri Governor Mike Parson did not issue a statewide mask mandate, but did extend the state of emergency. State of emergency will now run through March 31st. Governor Parsons calling on Missourians to take personal responsibility, wear masks, wash their hands, and practice social distancing. Counties in Kansas again have to make a decision on mask mandates after the governor Wednesday issued a new executive order. KOAM's Zach Dodge has details on what they plan to do as cases in Kansas continue to rise.
There's no win in this mask war.
Commissioners in Neosho County have decided to revisit a controversial issue, deciding to move forward with a mask ordinance, a reversal from their decision in July when they opted out of the governor's statewide mandate.
And at that time, I was having about 180 to 22, 180 saying, please don't do the mandate, and 22 saying, please do.
And at that time in July, Commissioner David Orr explains they only had 22 cases. Now they're at more than 500, and the feedback from the community has shifted.
This time we received a letter from 12 Neosho County doctors that were united, saying, we think it's time. It's time to mandate.
Now every county in Kansas will have to decide whether or not it's time, as the governor issues a second statewide mask mandate. Crawford County opted into the mandate in July and has worked to spread education ever since. They've also recently rolled out a mobile testing unit offering free testing in rural communities like Opolis.
That's really very important to break the cycle so that we can have our community healthy again.
Allen County also opted into the state mandate in July, not adding any local orders for it to be enforced. And in our other local counties, commissioners are set to meet as early as next week to decide what course they want to take.
Especially crossing county lines, it would be nice if we were united. This is not communism. We're not trying to dictate anything. We're trying to save lives.
Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
In a 2-to-1 vote last night, the Neosho County Commission decided to opt out of the governor's new mandate. The Wilson County Commission has planned a public meeting for 6:30 on Monday at Fredonia High School. With many Americans changing their plans and staying home this Thanksgiving because of the coronavirus, many people could be prepping their first ever Turkey Day meal, and that includes our very own Jesse Irwin as he gears up to prepare a turkey dinner at the Pittsburgh Fire Department.
You guys, we are hanging out here this morning at the Pittsburgh Fire Department, where we are joined by some Pittsburgh High School students, and we are also joined by Chef Anthony Fisher, who, Chef Anthony, you are the culinary expert, and I go to you for many things, but I called you yesterday because I said, Chef Anthony, I want to know how to properly fry a turkey. What does it take to fry a turkey?
Number one, high temperature smoke point oil and a completely thawed bird.
Okay.
And patience.
Patience.
Can't rush it. Must have patience.
You had what looked like a vaccine or something in your hands a little bit ago.
I was doing a little bit of marinating.
Okay.
You don't want to put any seasoning on the outside of it because when you put it into the oil, anything you put on the outside of it's going to wash off. So it's worthless to put anything on the outside of it. So I use an injectable. This is a butter-based injectable, and I'm just getting it into the breast. And if you're doing a whole bird where this is just the breast, you'll inject the thighs, and you'll inject the legs just to make sure that you have plenty in there. And this will help make sure that it stays nice and juicy inside and flavorful.
And what do we want the temperature to be at?
We want our temperature on our oil to be about 350 degrees.
All right, where are we at right now?
We're at about 180, 170.
All right, so we're getting there. We're going to continue to hang out with Chef Anthony, his students, and of course Chief Riley here this morning as we show you how to properly and improperly fry a bird. So we'll send it back to you, Tanya. We'll catch up with you over on Fox 14 at 7 o'clock.
Well, thanks, Jesse. Can't wait to see how this turkey turns out. All right, that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A new strategy.
It's Election Day, and President Trump continues to fight Joe Biden's victory. I'm Deborah Alfarone in Washington with the latest unprecedented bold move the president plans to take today.
Plus, do you plan on traveling this Thanksgiving? We let you weigh in our Something to Talk About. But first, it's 6:37.
Rain's going to hold off till about the noon hour, and then after that it becomes widespread. Going to be a wet, cool weekend as temperatures drop down to the 50s on Saturday and Sunday. Be back with Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, President Trump is meeting with two members of the Michigan State Legislature today as he continues to try to overturn Joe Biden's victory in the 2020 election. Deborah Alfarone has details on the Trump campaign's latest claims.
Did you all watch My Cousin Vinny?
During an animated press conference at Republican National Committee headquarters yesterday,
I know crimes. I can smell them.
the Trump campaign again failed to present evidence of widespread voter fraud and cast further unsubstantiated allegations.
Massive influence of communist money.
More than 2 weeks after Election Day, the campaign is running out of paths to challenge the results.
President Trump won by a landslide.
Today, Georgia is expected to certify President-elect Biden's victory. All 5 million ballots were counted by hand during a 6-day audit.
The point of the audit is to show the machines counted the ballots fairly.
Also happening today, President Trump is meeting with 2 Michigan legislators at the White House. Democrats say he wants them to intervene, though there's little evidence they have any power to do so.
Joe Biden won Michigan by over 150,000 votes, 14 times the margin that Donald Trump won by in 2016.
The Trump appointee at the General Services Administration has yet to approve the transition process. It's left President-elect Biden looking for other ways to prepare for the White House.
Being one of the most irresponsible presidents in American history.
Mr. Biden condemned the president's actions while speaking to reporters yesterday.
I'm confident he knows he hasn't won and is not going to be able to win, and we're going to be sworn in on January 20th.
The president-elect also spoke with a bipartisan group of governors yesterday on the coronavirus pandemic. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Morning Talker.
Thank you, Tanya. KOAM News Now Facebook page this morning, taking your comments about whether or not you're traveling. Also the subject of our Insta poll. And Insta polls leaned one way, and Facebook comments kind of mimicked it. Francis McGee says, no, I'm not traveling, but my husband's a trucker, so he's going to be on the road to bring you all your stuff. Francis, you tell your husband that we greatly appreciate his work on that, too. Joanna Lynn Phillips Casilla says, we're staying home, me, my husband, and youngest daughter. And Laura Clip-Honright says, no traveling in my fam. We have almost the max number of people just living here anyway right now, and I'm grateful for that. Well, thank you all for your engagement this morning on our Insta poll. 78% of you chiming in saying no, not traveling during the Thanksgiving holiday. Those percentages have been pretty consistent. You can still take part. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Let's celebrate some birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Private Robert Booth, who served in the United States Army in 1953. He fought in the Korean War. His hometown, Cherryvale, Kansas. We are proud to salute Robert Booth, our four-state hero.
This started off with a first birthday for a windblown yet great picture, Abbott Whitney. Abbott, a very happy birthday to you in Pittsburgh.
I don't know if that's the wind or she just rubbed a balloon on her head. That's such a cute picture. Here's another cutie. Kyler Botts is now 4 years old in Bronson, Kansas. Happy birthday, Kyler.
A ninth birthday for Easton Pettibone. Easton is celebrating in Jasper.
Right, Bryce.
Hey!
Bryce Bugney is 9 years old this year. Happy birthday, Bryce. In Pittsburgh. Says here he attends school in Frontenac.
Yeah, he does. Happy birthday, Bryce. Guinevere Caraway now into the double digits. Guinevere celebrating her 10th birthday. She's in the O Show.
That's a pretty picture there. Wiley Evans. Picture taken from Columbus Days. All right. And obviously in Columbus. Turning 12 years old this year, Wiley.
Katie Carter, she is now 18 years old. Katie, I want you to have a marvelous birthday. Katie is in St. Paul.
Great picture there, Katie. Allison Bulliard is turning 18 years old as well. Happy birthday to Allison in Diamond, Missouri.
And one more year in the teenage category for Landon Murphy, celebrating the big number 19. A happy birthday to Landon in Nevada.
Digging the wigs. And Logan Irvin celebrating the big 2-0 this year. Happy birthday to Logan in Joplin.
Now, the birth certificate reads Alexis Sanchez, and she simply goes by Lexi. She celebrates her 21st birthday in Chanute. Lexi, this comes with love from Carson and Timber. I'm going to guess that's exactly who's on your lap right there.
Aw, what a great picture. Doug Schlichting turning the big 6-0 this year. He's got his hands full too. Happy birthday from your loving wife, kids, and grandkids out in Lamar.
We'll run down to Commerce because that's where we find Paula Tedlock celebrating her 65th birthday. Paula, I want you to have a marvelous day.
BB Schaefer is celebrating number 70 this year. That's a big milestone for BB in Frontenac.
And Connie Tidd, happy 71st birthday to Miss Connie. She's in Fort Scott.
In Galesburg, Kansas, Charlie Wheeler celebrating birthday number 80 this year. Keep smiling there, Charlie.
Ada E, she's celebrating her 88th birthday. Ada, this comes with a birthday wish from your son, Tim. Ada's in Miami.
All right. And up in Moran, Kansas, turning 89 this year. It's time to celebrate for Helen LaRue. Happy birthday.
Kaylee Egbert, she is celebrating her birthday she's in McCune. Happy birthday to Kaylee.
All right. Cindy Kotzman celebrating a birthday in Frontenac this year. Happy birthday, Cindy.
Got an anniversary in Cherokee is Pat and Galen Snow. They are celebrating 48 years. Congratulations, Pat and Galen.
All right. And
who that is?
Our very own Jenny Schaefer, Nightside Director. It's a funny picture there, Jenny. Hope it's a great one for you today.
Happy birthday, Jenny. Diana Duncan, she is at Medical Lodges, and so like when we have a Medical Lodges birthday, make sure you're socially distanced, but make sure you also have a chance to wish Diana a happy birthday. Frank Davis, a happy birthday in Miami, and Adam York, he is celebrating a birthday in Lawton. That is the cousin of our own Will York. Happy birthday, Adam.
Deanna Walker turning 41 years old this year out in Fredonia, Kansas. Happy birthday, Deanna. And Jim and Frances Pyle celebrating 39 years of wedded bliss. Congratulations to the Piles in Pittsburgh.
Happy birthday, Frances. Miss seeing you. And not only that, and wondering why we don't have a picture, I'm going to take that out on Jim. We'll put the onus on him right there. Congratulations, Jim and Frances. That's awesome. Happy birthday, happy anniversary to all, whether it be on this November 20th, whether maybe it's tomorrow, on the 21st. Anyway, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
One additional comment to pass along from Facebook, Marla Oberzon, who says she's only traveling to work this Thanksgiving season. Essential healthcare worker. Marla, thank you for all your work on the front lines, and make sure you stay safe out there. KOAM News Now Instapoll this morning, 77% of you say no travel plans on this holiday season, and like I said, been pretty consistent. You still got a chance to let us know what you're doing. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Tanya?
All right, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar says an application for emergency use of Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine is expected today. As COVID-19 continues to spread across the U.S., the CDC says Americans should cancel their Thanksgiving plans and not travel at all for the holiday. Total number of cases since the pandemic hit the U.S. is approaching 12 million. After hitting 11 million on Sunday. Joplin City Council approves a new mask mandate for the community. The vote came last night after discussion and input from local health officials and the community. The mandate will go into effect immediately and will expire at 11:59 on February 28th of next year. The measure passed 6-3 with Gary Shaw, Doug Lawson, and Phil Stinnett voting no on the ordinance. Kansas counties are considering mask mandates after the governor signed a second statewide mask mandate. Governor Kelly issued a new mask mandate on Wednesday, giving counties that do not have mandates 7 days to draft their own alternatives or opt out. Crawford County has a mask order. Allen County let the governor's order in July take effect. In a 2-1 vote last night, the Neosho County Commission decided to opt out of the governor's new mandate. And other counties, including Wilson, Labette, and Woodson, plan to discuss what they want to do as early as next week. The number of hospitalizations in Oklahoma due to the coronavirus has surpassed 1,400 for a new one-day record. The Oklahoma State Department of Health Wednesday reported 1,434 people hospitalized, 53 more than the previous daily record set on Tuesday. The department reports 3,017 new cases and 26 additional deaths for totals of 164,340 cases and 1,588 deaths since the pandemic began. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Temperatures up into the high 60s, cloud cover gathers, and then as we get into Friday evening, rain begins to pick up, carries us all the way through Saturday. Saturday is a little more widespread, a little bit heavier rain, and then on the backside of it, temperatures locked into the 50s all the way through next week.
At noon, we're making a no-fuss Salisbury steak in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
It's your morning news continuing on KOAM, CBS Morning News, coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, Jesse is talking turkey.
Well, you guys, this morning we are going to be frying a turkey both properly and improperly. We are joined by Chef Anthony. And Chef Anthony, we're going to be doing the honors here.
Okay.
All right.
Our oil, we use peanut oil. Our oil is at 350 degrees. Into the basket.
In she goes.
In she goes.
And away we go. All right, we're going to be over on Fox 14 where we will continue this process and we will show you what happens when you don't do it the way Chef Anthony's doing it. So join us over there. We'll see you at 7.
Chief, we greatly appreciate the time, my man. We'll check back in with you in just a little bit. I want you to have a great, safe, marvelous Friday and an excellent, excellent 4-state weekend. We'll do this all again on Monday morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.